Hey guys, it's November 3rd, meaning it's the third day in Unreal Nodevember, and today I have a really simple one for you guys. We are just going to spawn a random object within a certain bounds, within a box location basically. And to do that, it's really simple, but first we need to set up an item to spawn. So we're going to go actor, and we're going to make a new ball. Whoops, can't spell today. New ball. Reason it's new ball is because I already made a ball for this tutorial, but we don't want to use that one. I want to show you guys how to do this yourself. So we've opened up the blueprint for new ball, and as you can see, it's completely empty. And we're going to want to add in a component, and we're going to want to add in a static. I cannot spell today. There we go. We want to add in a static mesh, not a static mesh simulation, just a static mesh. Okay, and we're going to call this new ball. And from that, we want to tell it which static mesh we're going to use. So let's type in sphere, and we want to use material sphere. Reason being is it puts the origin in the direct center of the sphere, and it will allow us to simulate the physics properly. So we're going to want to add in a material here so it looks a little bit better, and we'll go with hex tile pulse so we have something nice to look at. And the only other thing that we need to do is go to simulate physics, and for some reason my phone is buzzing a lot. We're just gonna put that on silent and move it off to the side. Okay, so we've hit simulate physics, and this will basically, here, if I do this, you see the ball drop. So it's affected by gravity and its geometry data, and this will essentially have it working as a giant soccer ball. In fact, we can actually click on this and scale it down just a little bit so it's more of a proper ball size. Okay, so with the ball created, let's drop it into the map, and you guys can see we have created a ball. And when I hit play, you can see the ball drops to the ground. We can kick it, we can roll it around. Awesome, but now we want to spawn more of these, okay? And it's really easy to set that up as well. So we're just going to right click blueprint, another actor, and we are going to call this new spawner. Also because I've already made a spawner, and I want to show you guys how to set this up. So let me open up my reference on this screen. Awesome. So the only thing we really need for this, two simple things it looks like. We need a box collision, and this will be the area that the ball spawns in. And I'm just going to click on this real quick. Whoop, whoop. And I want to scale it up. So to use your hotkeys, it's just R to increase the scale. Okay. And maybe I want to scale down the height of this. And you can actually grab just 2 and spawn on the X and Y. And we'll do that. That looks good. And we're going to want to add in, whoops, better rename that. We want to call this the spawner area. Alright, and we're going to add in another component, and just so you guys can tell the difference a lot easier, I'm going to make this a sphere collision. Okay, and we're going to call this trigger, and you can see we've added in a teeny tiny sphere here, sphere here, and we want to make this a little bit bigger than our bounding box. Okay, that should do. And we're going to compile. And just so you guys can visualize it a little bit better, what do I want to do? Maybe I'll add a light so you guys can kind of see. We'll add in a spotlight. And we're just going to call it light. Nothing fancy here. And we're going to select that, and with E we can switch to rotation. I don't think I rotated that right. And we want to go -90, and now W to bring it up. And we want to change the attenuation radius so that it somewhat matches the trigger bounds. It doesn't have to be perfect. And we'll make this purple. Okay, so we're going to compile that. Awesome. And we are going to reparent that to the scene root. Okay. Basically all that does is make it so that when I move the whole scene, the light moves with everything else and it won't get messed up. That's not really important. What is important is the spawner area and the trigger. Okay? So, like last time, we have these nodes. We don't want these nodes. We're going to just drag in right away our spawner area and our trigger. So with our trigger, just like last time, we want to add in a component begin overlap. And we want to add in a end overlap. Okay, and I'm just going to take these, drag them up here, and just like so. Now, next thing I want to do is I want to tell this blueprint to spawn the ball blueprint. And that's easily done just by right clicking and going spawn actor from class. And we're going to do this. I'm going to bring this in. I'm going to show you guys something. Okay. So from here we have when we overlap it will spawn an actor, but we haven't told it which actor, and that's easily enough done. We want to search for new ball. Now we specified which blueprint that we want to spawn in, which actor we want to spawn in, okay? But it doesn't know where to put it yet. And we're going to fix that real easy by right clicking and going random, random point in bounding box. And we're just going to hook that up to the spawn transform, and what this node it spawned in does is just converts this value type into the transform value type. And drag this down a little bit. Now for the spawner area, oh, I did something wrong. We actually do not want to drag in the spawner area. We want to drag in the scene root this time. And we're going to drag off of here, and we are going to get the world get the world location. Okay, and we're going to hook that up into the origin. And this basically tells us that the origin of the bounding box is the scene root. That's not super important, but basically it's telling the code that this is the middle. Okay, I actually made a mistake there. I've been making a lot of those today. We do not want the trigger, we want the spawner area, because we are trying to target the spawner area with the box extent. So from there, now we can drag off and type in box extent. There we go, that's what we wanted, and we're just going to hook that up to box event. Now everything works. So I'm going to leave the code the way it sits right now, and I'll show you guys what happens if we go to use this. So drag in our new spawner, I'll put it right beside the cube so you know exactly where it is. And I'll actually go back in here and turn up the light intensity as well. There we go. So now we can see where the spawning area is, and we're just going to hit play. So I'm going to take my character, and this was the ball we had dropped in before, so to avoid any confusion, I'm just going to get rid of that. Okay, so now you can see there's no ball in the scene. I walk in, and this is exactly what I wanted to show you guys. If we leave the nodes set up the way they are, the code doesn't know, I better stop that before it gets too crazy. The code doesn't know to only do it once. It will spawn a ball literally every frame if it can. So we're going to go back, and we're going to disconnect this. And to fix this, it's super simple. You guys remember this node from the last couple tutorials. We're going to do cast to third person character, right? And I'm just going to copy paste, drag that down. So we want to hook up to other actor. And then from there, we want this very important node called do once. And this one's pretty self-explanatory as to what it does. It limits the code to only run once. You walk in the sphere, it casts it to the third person blueprint and tells it, okay, do this next set of code once until you're told to reset. So we're going to hook that up to spawn actor. And now when we do it, we're still going to leave this not hooked up for now. But now when we do it, you'll see we spawn one ball. That's all we can spawn. We can only spawn the one ball. And for some uses, in some scenarios, that's exactly what we want. We only want to be able to spawn one of these. But for the sake of this tutorial, I think we want to spawn in more. So we go back into our new spawner, and this is where the on component end overlap comes in handy. We're going to hook it up. This can be the other actor. And this will be the event that tells the do once to reset. Okay? So we hit compile, and we go back to third person, and we hit play. And now I walk in, there's a ball. Walk in, there's a ball. Walk in, there's a ball. So every time I walk into this purple area here, we get a new ball. So one more time, on component begin overlap of this sphere. So when we overlap this sphere as our third person character, one time we will spawn the ball. And when we leave the sphere as our third person character, we will reset the do once node so that we can walk back through as our third person character and spawn another ball. And this set of code down here is literally just telling it to use the box as the spawn area. And when I say box, I mean this box here. So it'll spawn the ball somewhere within this box. And this node here, get world location, is just telling us the location of the scene root, which is in this case the center of the spawning area. So I hope you guys found that useful. This one was definitely more cut and dry, more beginner paced, and a lot more useful than the last one, simply because the last one is kind of niche. It's more for use on vehicles and maybe like a jetpack setup, but there are better and more efficient ways to set up a thruster. The reason I did the last one the way I did was because it's beginner friendly. It's not necessarily the right way of doing things, but it's a beginner friendly way, and again, it gets people thinking of different ways to work with blueprints. Whereas this code here is something that is beginner friendly and 100% usable in your projects. So I hope you found this one useful. That's it for me today. I will see you guys tomorrow with the next one.